Once upon a time, there lived King Athamas, who was married to the nymph Nathalie. They had two children, a son Thrixus and a daughter Helle. They lived happily until the king thought that he's kind of bored and can date someone younger because he's king after all. So he remarried to a beautiful woman Ino, who also turned out to be a real bitch. This is how the myth of Aries constellation starts.
Hello world, it's Sumi, and today we are breaking down Aries archetype. So, the exposition of the myth is basically a rivalry between two women, which is a classical Aries setting since this sign is all about competition. Aries is the sign of self. In astrology, houses correspond to the zodiac signs, and the first house matches Aries, the first sign. And the first house is the house of the owner of the chart. So it represents your body, your personality, like the person, the owner of the chart. And it describes Aries as the sign of will of the one, of individuality. Pisces that go before Aries represent selfless sea where everybody is connected, connection of everything, universe, God. It's like a place where we all come from, like the sea. Think of the sea and the fish of our ancestor. It's the place where we all come from. It's our subconscious mind, collective subconscious. And connection. And Aries emerges out of this sea and gains will, gains and dissociates with others, with loses this universal connection, but gains boundaries, will, and individuality. And that's why Aries is connected to aggression and assertiveness, because it's about the will of the one and competition and winning. This is the main idea of Aries: fighting, surviving, winning, and asserting themselves. And on the positive, they can be heroes, saviors, fearless, courageous, and so on. So Aries is a sign of rivalry. Remember King's second wife, Ino. Well, the story says that his first wife, Nathalie, left in anger, which is totally understandable, and since she also turned out to be a cloud, drought came upon the land. The king decided to consult the oracles, which is a very wise move, by the way, to consult the oracles or astrologers, for example. And Ino, the evil bitch, bribed the messenger, and the messenger told the king that the only way to end the drought is to sacrifice his kids. Athamas clearly didn't want to kill his children. Yeah, I say clearly because it's very common in Greek mythology to care about their children. But he couldn't go against the will of God, so he sent his children to die. And here is when our savior, the future Aries installation, comes into play. A winged ram sent by Hermes, or by Hera's command, or by Nathalie, or by Zeus, take whatever resonates, came to seek the children. And here you might ask yourself, a winged ram? How did that happen? Well, the Poseidon didn't want to face competition in romance, so he turned himself into a ram and nymph Theophany into an ewe. And they had a golden baby ram. So let's go back to the children. A golden ram offered the kids rescue if they flew with it. With it. And while Phrixus was enjoying the ride and chilling, Helle was freaking out, and when she looked down, she got scared and she fell off the ram and died. And then Phrixus started freaking out, and but he pulled himself together and flew to his mom. And this is an important thing about Aries archetype, that it takes courage and taking action without thinking of consequences. Aries is the sign of hero, it's the archetype of hero. Hero should be courageous, fearless, and taking action. This is why the golden ram is a feature of heroes. It's something that heroes often look for, search for. Okay, now let's talk about the boring stuff. Well, okay, it's not boring, it's just more technical. Aries is a fire sign, it's a cardinal cross, and it's ruled by Mars. I drew it for you, by the way. I think with fire signs it's more or less clear, like they are active and energetic and so on, and cardinal signs are the signs that follow after solstices and equinoxes. So it's Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. They symbolize major turning points and the same weather and astrology. They represent meaningful changes. With Aries, it's like the spring, the new season, vitality, promise of a better future, mating season. Everything is waking up from the winter. And mating season, by the way, is about fighting for resources and for mating. And it's kind of an Aries thing. And since Aries is a fire sign and cardinal sign, we call it like the most energetic and active and crazy and hyper maniac sign. A good Aries illustration can be a match, which I will be igniting using a lighter because of my nails. So the energy is really concentrated, but it doesn't last long. And that's why Aries initiates, starts, and always want to be first. It's a pure impulse and the beginning of something. And what do we know about the ruler of Aries, Mars, which I drew for you guys? It's the god of war. Mars in astrology is responsible for passion, aggression, assertiveness, drive, competition, and strength. And these are all Aries themes. So with Mars, it's more or less clear. It's like almost the same as Aries. It's not that interesting. So let's talk about the planet which is in detriment in Aries. It's like Mars antagonist, Venus. Why is Venus in detriment in Aries? And here we mostly talk about Libra archetype because it's like the opposite of Aries. Libra is about finding balance, partnership, equality, negotiating. And Aries is the celebration of domination and the will of the one. And for Aries, it's something that Aries has to learn how to find balance, how to listen to others, how to like be rational. Libra is a very rational sign. It's like they can evaluate things like and find the balance. Aries are like crazy. They can't find balance. They can just do whatever their like impulse is telling them to do. And this is why Aries and like Venus are not a good match. Venus feels bad in Aries. Aries, it's a battlefield, and Venus is too gentle and too polite to be in such a place.
Sun is exalted in Aries, and actually these archetypes have a lot in common. They're very masculine and connected to ego and self. Sun is like the ultimate integrity, the center of the solar system. And it's an ideal for Aries because Aries loves Sun for its uniqueness and self-centeredness. You can imagine Sun as a king and Aries like a loyal warrior, which loves Sun like the king for its godly power. And for Sun, Aries, like it's a great place because for self-expression or for being you, like it's the Sun idea, being yourself, you need to have some of Aries' boldness and like carelessness to other people's opinions. So Sun feels great in Aries.
And another planet which is not welcome in the sign of Aries, it's Saturn. It's in fall there. Saturn is all about discipline, rules, and regulations, and Aries hate it. Saturn reminds Aries that there are things that are stronger than the will of one. For example, laws. And not only like state laws, which is also a thing, but also universal laws such as time, aging, death. Aries believe that they are capable of everything, and like with their will and desire, everything will align the way they want it to. And Saturn teaches Aries that it's not like the case. We live in a material world, and there are many things like karma, time, circumstances, rules, and so on. And so Saturn teaches us about like wisdom and discipline and patience, and Aries are like the worst students in this class. And these planets, Venus and Saturn, which are not like welcome in the sign of Aries, are things that Aries actually has to learn. Like with Venus, it's balance, relationship, listening to others, and with Saturn, it's rules, regulations, laws, discipline, social rules, social things, standards, restrictions, things that can be out of your control, things that Saturn teaches us. So what kind of person Aries is? Well, this is definitely not a boring sign. They always look for some movement, adventures, and they try to bring their ideas to life. Aries is a warrior. They always have to fight for something, and if they don't, they get really bored. They cannot just live in peace and harmony. Actually, if their energy is not like distributed correctly and they don't know how to use it, they can create crisis themselves so they can solve it. Aries are also idealistic because Sun is exalted there and they have a lot of energy and can do many different things at the same time, but their attention span isn't long. It's a very fast moving and active sign. Sun is exalted in Aries, and usually these people are bright and noticeable. Exaltation is like a pedestal, and once put on a pedestal, Aries try really hard to remain there, and it creates a certain inner pressure because they always want to seem like bold, careless, energetic, happy, even if they don't feel this way at the moment. They're prone to have in this inflated ego and desire to be best and first at everything. As Megan Thee Stallion said,
"Bitch, you do you, and whatever that is, I'ma do it better."
She's an Aquarius though, but she has Sun opposite her Mars. But being first and best at everything is kind of impossible, so Aries are often jealous of others. This is one of the most jealousy signs. Aries also hate to show their weaknesses because they won't always feel like the winner in the eyes of the others and live up to the ideal that they have in their mind. Aries can even lie to themselves about being not happy or satisfied, because how can Miss Aries the success be wrong or unhappy? Impossible. Aries are good leaders because Sun is exalted there and their personality can be elevated by others. They have the authority, they are bossy, and they're ready to make decisions. Oh, of course, they like leading, they like competing, and so on. Even body-wise, Aries is responsible for head, and the head is like the leader of the body, and we often call leaders like the head of some. Aries are good leaders, but they're bad subordinates because they hate being told what to do, they hate restrictions, and they actually know better, and so on. So they have really hard time obeying somebody. Their gut for leadership can sometimes turn them into tyrants. See, the ruler of Aries Mars is a very violent planet. It's literally the god of war. And this fierce energy can go different ways. It's like the shadow of Aries. And Aries are easy to piss off because they have control issues, and if something doesn't go with their vision, they lose their temper really quickly. But they're not manipulative and they don't remember things. They're not like holding to their grudges. They just can be really angry at the moment, but they forget it easily. And Aries not manipulative actually. They just say directly what they want right here, right now, at the moment, really oppressively and directly. And this is how they get things. They're really simple. It's a very simple sign. It's just like one impulse. And they usually don't have many things at the back of their mind. Aries are not very empathetic because they're very self-centered, and they are also bad at reading people and feeling others. They might have some extra confidence and self-esteem because of their exalted Sun, and they can do or say something offensive, not even realizing how offensive it can be, because they don't understand like others. For example, if it's a water sign, they're absolutely different and they perceive things differently. And Aries don't even think about it. Aries cannot even imagine that things can be very offensive. The things that they say or do, they think it's just a thing, just something they said. And they're honest, they say things directly. On the positive side, the dream of Aries is to be a hero because they want to, not because they're empathetic actually, not because they want to help. Yeah, they want to help, but that's not the main dream or idea. What they actually want is to be praised and to be appreciated and to be viewed as a hero. It's something that they want, and they can actually help others. They can do something and be selfless at the moment and be courageous because they want to save somebody, to help somebody, and to be praised. An ability to read people can actually do harm for Aries as well, because they because they are too optimistic, and they can sometimes like miss on some bad things that people do to them. Like they can be delusional because they don't see like some bad intentions, bad vibes. They just think that like everything is okay because they are self-centered. They cannot see further than their nose. And if Aries don't express their Ariousness, they can have headaches because Aries is responsible for head, as I've said, and this like maybe anger issues and like self-expression issues, boundary issues, because natural state for Aries is to protect their boundaries and to be a bit aggressive and like assertive. And if people like close off of this part of themselves with the heavy Aries influence, they can have this anger and headache issues, many different issues as well, but I just mentioned one. So that's it about Aries archetype, and thank you for watching.